next time. So I'm going to run a little fireside chat with Rafael, but first of all, how do you pronounce your last name? Because I always fuck it up.
It's hard to pronounce. It's really.
But go ahead.
Dilewski.
Dilewski? How do you say that?
Dilewski.
Oh, I'm not sure I said that right. Can you introduce yourself for the crowd so they know who you are?
So my name is Rafael. I'm co-founder and vice president of IQ Sport. This is a startup focusing on technologies in sports industry.
So look, guys, this morning I was already interviewing someone in sport. I think the organizers are trying to remind me that I'm not exercising enough or something, right? So can you tell us a bit, what do you do? What is IQ Sport exactly?
So we in our company we have the same background, in fact. So we are from events, we are from sports, so from professional sports. But we have different, let's say, knowledge domains that we are proficient in. So we have Jarek Bieniuk, the former Polish soccer player.
Yeah, soccer, football
player, soccer, it's like depending, yeah. And after Jarek finished his career, we decided to join our forces and create something quite unique on this market because we joined different competencies in one place. So Jarek is obviously sport performance expert.
Are you a sports performer yourself?
No, I'm more technology oriented. So and we also have people from operations and sales. So we have quite comprehensive mix of competencies here for the sports industry. So,
but before I go to the story of the professional, what's his name again? I'm sorry because I'm really. What's the name of the soccer player?
No, it's just Jarek. It's just Jarek.
So but before I go there, can you tell us what you do? I mean, do you help other companies? Because it's an advisory group. So advisory can mean a lot of things.
So in general, we advise on applying technology in this industry. So basically, it's venue operators, it's sport franchises. We see a big room for improvement here because generally we are focusing on fun in-venue experience. So this is something that is very important now. Because nowadays, these players, market players like venues, like sport franchises realize that sports fans change their behaviors. They really behave differently. Absolutely. They consume sports in a totally different way. They want to be constantly connected. Yeah, they want to deliver content on their own terms, and they just want to have a good experience, seamless experience on match day. So.
And can you maybe give us a few examples of projects so people can understand?
Yeah, of course. We generally focusing on, at this stage, on proximity technologies, or mainly beacons, and use this as a platform to deliver services that helps people move and have this smooth in-venue experience on site. So, generally, we start from wayfinding, indoor navigation, through food and beverage delivery. Which we let's say we have a prototype of a special way how to pick up this food. I can just explain later more in detail. We're also focusing on easier access to information. So we build something like a mobile concierge service through the mobile app for fans attending.
But do you develop these technologies yourself, or do you find people who have developed and then you do the matching with existing venues, for instance?
It depends, yeah.
Okay.
Because in terms of indoor navigation, we have quite good, already good solutions on the market, which are based on iBeacons, like indoors, for instance. So we are partnering them and we create this value together. But the rest of the features of the solution is built from scratch. It's a custom solution. Yeah? So in fact, we build different services, application services. We can underpin to the mobile apps. We can also create for clients, but we can also integrate with them. So.
Okay, so it's always for clients. So are you creating products that you apply to multiple clients, or are you creating self-contained products and then you spin off, or is it really advisory and you work for clients, for venues, etc.?
At this stage, definitely we work for clients, for them. So we just deliver technology to solve problems they have, usually in this in-venue experiences.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that food thing you were telling us,
yeah.
So I can understand?
This is quite challenging thing in events because, as you for sure know, in this performance segment, entertainment, sports, you consume these events in peaks. So you have a core performance, you watch the game, and you have a break, and then you consume something other, so like food and beverage. So you have big queues, big lines, and the experience is poor generally because you need to wait. And at this stage, markets have different solutions, like food and beverage delivery to the seat. Some clubs are developing this kind of apps. We have mobile purchases, food and beverage. We can buy this through the app. But generally, we have problem with long lines. We have problems with waiting times.
Yeah, the queues, yeah.
What we are prototyping, in fact, is a kind of we call it food and box. So we create a kind of food boxes that you can place close to the stands, close to the food and beverage stores. And this is a kind of a third, let's say, delivery method that we can integrate into the apps of venue operators or create the apps for their own. So, in fact, basically you can use Bluetooth, you can order food in your mobile app, you have the confirmation, of course, the food and beverage back office delivers it to your box, you go, pick up, just self-service, total self-service, with no queues, practically with no queues. Because you could just open it through the app, through the mobile, through the Bluetooth communication with the device. So it's something.
I would love that. I live next to Stamford Bridge, so where Chelsea plays, and there's always queues that are like horrible. So I would love to have to try that actually there. We should sell them that to them. But the question I have is, are these ideas, for instance, the food ideas, it's something you came up because a venue came to you and said, we have this problem, or is it something that you imagine and then you go to a venue and say, look, we know you have this problem, so we can solve it for you? Which direction is it?
We just talk with them, yeah? We participate usually in different conferences, like Stadium Business Summit recently in June in Barcelona. So we have plenty of market leaders and plenty of, let's say, just market stakeholders there, and we just talk. We have some hypotheses. We talk, we discuss, we see if this is something that could work for them or not. If there is a response, if there is this cookie monster effect, they look at you if you describe the idea or not. And we see this distraction here, and that's why we are step by step. We develop some prototypes, we have pilot projects, and try to scale up. Yeah.
Is it mostly so you assess the Polish market or elsewhere as well?
Definitely abroad, yeah, definitely abroad. Okay. In Polish market, we have this barrier of finding early adopters here, yeah, because it's more like stadiums.
You're saying it's easier to convince versus venues abroad, they're already more advanced, maybe in terms of adopting technology.
Definitely, yes. And after that, if I have some pilots there, it's easy for me to go to, I don't know, to some stadium in Poland or the sport franchise. Okay, see, it works, yeah? It's like, it's innovation mindset that might not be necessarily here very present, yeah?
Okay. So maybe let's come back a few seconds to Jarek. Jarek or Jarek? I'm not sure. Jarek, sorry for that. So did he come up with the idea? I mean, obviously having someone well-known on your team adds up to the credibility when you talk to teams, venues, etc. We saw that this morning when I talked to Mateusz. It helps a lot for PR and a lot of stuff. But so did he come on board because you asked him? Had he an interest already in technology? Can you tell us a little bit of the backstory?
Yeah, he was thinking about what to do after his career. Yeah, he finished his career last year, and we know Jarek for the past couple of years. So he was interested in investing in this startup environment because for him it was something natural to continue with after the sports career. Because this is something very similar, in fact. So you leave the football pitch, but in fact you have the same environment. You have uncertainty, you have adrenaline, in fact you replicate the same attitudes, but you just move it to the business, to some very unstable business.
But did he have to learn, or maybe did you teach him more of the business part? Because of course the attitude, I guess, the fighting attitude, etc., is there. But what about the more mundane parts of business? I mean, it's still a more long-term, I mean, of course, football is long-term, but it can be a more long-term goal to achieve like a prototype and then sell it to the market. Did he learn through you, or did he already had that?
No, of course, it's something that you learn all the time. Yeah, he has good personal characteristics to work in startup because he really in startup you have this pain period sometimes that you invalidate your ideas, you must repeat, reiterate, pivot, and Jarek is, it's a fighter, yeah, and he really helps us to move forward, to figure out something new, to find distraction. So he's a very good investor, yeah, as an investor, because he understands that in startup you need to be patient. You need to sometimes very slowly move forward, but smartly. So
does he participate in a more day-to-day as well, or is he really more the investor? He stays in the background.
Definitely, Jarek helps us in communication with early adopters,
of course, yeah.
Because he knows the industry quite well, and with such an investor, it's easier for us to open door and to find some interesting early adopters to test our ideas.
But is it an exception in Poland? I'm not very familiar with that, because I know that in other countries, the UK, Spain, you have footballers, even during their career, are already investing. Some others do that after. In Poland, it might have been the first time. And do you see some others, maybe in other sports, happening, or do you want to attract some others, maybe for your company?
It's still not very popular choice. Yes, that's true. You have Mateusz Kusznierewicz today.
Yeah.
We have Robert Lewandowski investing in the venture capital, focusing on startups, but it's not a common choice. That's true.
Do you know why? Do you know if there's a reason?
From my perspective, I think that the problem is a bit deeper. It's not just about that we have a sportsman or not. It's just about our mindset here, I guess. So usually, like in my generation, I was always encouraged just to go with the stable path. So finish your school, permanent job. You can be a lawyer or a doctor.
Yeah, the usual. Yeah.
That doesn't help to undertake this kind of risky decisions, because it's a risky decision to invest in startup. Yeah, it's quite unstable, uncertain. So I think that's the reason. Yeah, that their first choice is rather real estate.
Traditional. Yeah.
Real estate.
Yeah.
I will invest my free savings on real estate. Not startups, but it's changing, I guess.
Because there's a new generation.
Exactly.
New generation, especially in soccer and football players.
That's true.
A lot of them play in Germany. They will at some point also end their career. Some of them might come back to live in Poland. So do you think you can make an example of Jarek and actually mix other?
Yes, I think so. I think we have just a couple of people here in Poland investing, former professional sports player investing, but abroad in USA, that's the first choice for many players, like from NFL, from NBA. You can read all the time that they invest in something, in new, like Internet of Things, in new companies like Fantasy Sports. It's really quite common. Yeah.
So would you be open to attract even, I don't know, foreign sportsmen to actually work with you?
For sure, I would encourage to do this, because I think that this is a good combination. Yeah? The former sports player as an investor in startup, because he really understands this environment, because the same environment, almost the same, he was in during his sports career. So it's something really natural that they should go for it and invest in this kind of undertakings. Because of this instability, this uncertainty, it's not boring for sure. I don't imagine.
There's some adrenaline as well that comes to it. Like you said, uncertainty.
Exactly.
We never know. Football is the greatest strategy play because you never know how it ends, right? So, yeah.
To be honest, I don't imagine a Jarek now wearing a suit, going to the bank and working as in the administration from 8 to 4. That's impossible. He needs new challenges, and he likes to learn something new and build new products. So this is quite, I think, natural environment for this kind of people.
So before we close, can you tell us, I mean, you've told us for the projects you're working, and I'm sure a lot of them you cannot talk about, but is there any project that particularly excites you, whether it's for a venue, whether it's for a team, whether it's for, I don't know, because there's so many projects could be, is it one that you here are really excited about?
You talk about our projects or
your
in general?
project, or even you could even something you've heard and you say, oh, wow, we should do the same here in Poland.
Generally, I think that the proximity technology can bring really a new value to venues, to events, because using beacons and other these IoT things can really enhance, and this is very exciting because you have, it's quite simple. There are very simple solutions, simple devices, but you can use it really, the potential of it is huge. So that potential is very fascinating, that you really can build different services to fans based knowing his location and the context they are now, to propose them something relevant. Yeah? So this is...
Yeah, it's true. I would say that. It's true that I never thought about it before, but I work a lot with the aviation industry, which they also started using wayfinding. So beacons in the airport, so when you're in the airport, you know how to get from your point to the gate to the fastest way, et cetera, et cetera. And I always say it's a captive audience because they come to the airport and they have a plane to catch. So they have, but actually in stadiums, it's the same. And even more than that, they usually actually are fans. There's a reason they're there. It's not just to catch a plane. It's actually they really want to be there. So I guess engaging them is very high value.
And most of all, just giving them the core value, which is the performance on the pitch, but at the same time have this opportunity to have this, let's say, this experience seamless, also to monetize them on this. Because if you can easily reach their destinations, they easily have easy access to information, if they can have reduced waiting times in queues, they can spend more. That's obvious. They can. Yeah, the capacity is then this commercial capacity for the venue is much bigger. Yeah?
Well, it looks pretty obvious. Any words to conclude? Do you want to make an appeal to the crowd to help you?
I can just encourage just startups to find investors among sports players, professional sports players, because they are really good partners in business, understanding this environment that then don't require the results the next month, but they even encourage to take risk to find the proper solution for the market. So good investors.
On that, thank you so much, Rafał. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.